Yeah, hey everyone, it's Kelvin. Welcome to episode 42 of Res Metal Podcasts. Thanks for checking it out. On this episode, I was really fortunate to talk with Sergio Soto of the black metal band Imperialist. The reason I say that is just because, I'm just a big fan of like the Transcending Obscurity records, bands and artists. And yeah, it was just a real honor to talk to Sergio. We got a chance to talk about, their recent performance at California Death Fest and just kind of like the background of, how Sergio started playing music and how Imperialist was formed. And we do talk about their newest album, Zenith, which if you haven't checked it out, you can, see their Bandcamp, the Transcending Obscurity, Bandcamp. You could also stream it like on Spotify, Apple iTunes. I believe you can also stream it on the Transcending Obscurity YouTube page. Yeah, just a really cool talk. I was really, just really into Imperialists for a while. I first got into them, just following Transcending Obscurity. They put out a yearly compilation, like a digital compilation. So, they were on, I believe it was last year's Transcending Obscurity compilation, and just been a fan ever since. Yeah, just another reason I really dig them is, I'm just a huge Dissection fan, and the Imperialists are definitely influenced by Dissection, and I really just kind of dig their interpretation of melodic black metal. So I'm just gonna play a quick clip. I'm gonna play a clip from their first EP. Sergio does kind of talk about how this was the kind of like one of their first recordings, and that's the Call of Vulcan. So check it out. I'll play a quick clip and then go right into the interview. All right, check it out. Okay. All right. I'm with Sergio Soto, guitarist and vocalist for Imperialist. So I'm really thankful to talk with Sergio. Would you mind just kind of introducing yourself to listeners?
Yeah, I'm Sergio Soto from Imperialist. I play guitar and vocals.
Awesome. And where are you calling them right now?
We're in a suburb of LA called Monrovia. So okay. Maybe about 30 minutes away east from Los Angeles.
East of Los Angeles.
Still okay. LA County. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I got to mention the Super Bowl. Are you going to follow the Super Bowl tomorrow with the LA Rams?
Yeah. I'm excited. I hope the Rams win. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, last I checked, I think they're favored by the gambling odds. Mainly because it's a home team, and I want to say they're favored by 4, but I don't know if that changed or not since I last checked. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it might change. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that Super Bowl in LA, the traffic's going to be terrible, but who's going to be driving anyway, right? No. Who's going to be watching the game? It's cool though. I see, like in downtown, all the events and everything just leading up to the Super Bowl. It's cool. There hasn't been a football team for a while. So to have a team like the Rams and then for the Rams to make it to the Super Bowl when it's in LA. It's really cool. So I'm excited. I hope they win. And yeah, it's going to be a good game. The Bengals are, man, red hot.
Yeah.
So
I played good. Yeah, I played a fantasy football league, and I had a lot of Bengals players on my team. Like, the running back. Let's see. I think I had T. Higgins. Just a lot of like their, not even like their star players. They like put up a lot of stats. It's really cool. And their quarterback, Joe Burrow, he's, dude, I'm just blown away how he was able to take the team to the Super Bowl in his second season.
Yeah, man. It's like Michael Irvin says, he's got stank in his tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an ace, man. This guy just kind of turned it up and took his team. The way that they handled the Chiefs was very impressive too. So I'm excited to see both teams. I gotta say, these playoffs have been probably some of the best football I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Actually, this season, there's so many good games this season in general.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good.
Yeah. I'm in Arizona, so I've been following the Cardinals. They started out like, I want to say they won like 7-8 games in a row, then pretty much just kind of fell off from there. But I don't know what happened.
They were kind of on the beginning. They beat down the Rams early in the season.
Yeah, they won at the Rams Stadium too. That was impressive, but I don't know what happened. Like, I want to say after Halloween, after that Thursday night game against Green Bay, I don't know, the season just kind of like disintegrated from there. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams during the midway point of the season, or like around the midway point of the season, a lot of teams where you thought you had their outcomes started to really turn it around. Like, I don't know if you remember the Chiefs, they were like at 500, or I think they were.
Yeah, they were like last in their division, like the AFC West.
Yeah,
they were, somehow they turned it around.
They just turned it around. Same, a lot of teams. And then you had like teams like the Eagles making it to the wild card, like right at the very end, and the Steelers, and yeah, it was cool. There was a lot of cool, like a lot of movement in the league, with just performance. So hopefully, it carries on to next season.
Yeah.
But for now, I think everyone's in for a good Super Bowl. So let's hope for a shootout.
Heck yeah. But yeah, going back to just Imperialist. I follow Imperialist on on social media, and I saw that you guys recently played the California Death Fest. How was that experience?
It was cool. It was really cool. We've been anticipating this show since when? I want to say May of last year when we got on, and you know how it is. Just something is so far out, you get excited, and then it's just there, kind of like a new movie or like a new album or something. You're just kind of like, they're gonna put out an album in like 6 months or X amount of time. But then when it gets closer, the anticipation starts to build up, and you get nervous, or then you get really excited, and then when it starts happening, excuse me, and then when you actually get there, it's a whole different feeling. And yeah, it was awesome. It was exciting. I've been a fan of the Death Fests for, as long as I can't even remember, I've just been a big fan of Maryland Death Fest. And then when they started branching out, and then I attended some of those eventually, and just seeing how really, what's the word? I guess smooth the system is in those festivals, having like that European style festival set up here in the US was really cool, and to be a part of that. And then the lineup, wow, that lineup was really awesome. We got to play the same day as bands like Aklis and Sacramentum and Dark Fortress and Pentagram Chile, just these great bands. And when we got on, we had other bands that were part of the lineup, but a couple of them dropped because of visa issues and whatnot. And like, I was excited to see Necrophobic and play with them. It would have been really cool.
Damn.
But they had issues that they couldn't make it. But yeah, it was really cool. Attendance was awesome. And just to see our logo on a flyer with all those other bands, with Autopsy and Mortician and just those kind of bands, Sacramentum especially, was really cool. And actually, I got to play with Sacramentum on that same day because their bass player he couldn't make it.
Oh, wow.
So they asked last minute to play bass for them. So I had to learn the whole Far Away from the Sun album in like 3 days.
Wow.
On bass. And then, so on top of the Imperialist set, I had to learn the whole Far Away from the Sun and like the cues and everything. And then we only rehearsed the set 2 times on the Saturday of prior to the show. So yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of work that had to go into it. I had to basically new set in a couple days and then get our set down. But I'm glad I took that challenge, and I'm really happy with the result. And we're very good friends guys in Sacramento, and now, I mean, I consider them close friends. And I'm just happy for what the opportunity that the Death Fest has provided to Imperialist and to myself, to my bandmates, and just everything. It was really cool. It was really exciting.
Yeah,
it became more than I thought a year ago.
Yeah. I see a lot of comparisons to Sedimentum with Imperialist. So that's pretty cool that you got to play with them and played a whole set for them. And then kind of just going back to the beginning of Imperialist, what was like your exposure to heavy music and to the local scene in California?
Well, I'm into heavy music. I want to say when I was maybe like in 6th or 7th grade, I got into nu metal bands.
Yeah,
like
me too. Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love System of a Down, and Korn is a great band too. I haven't really kept up with their more recent work, but I love the early albums. And I like, yeah, those were probably like my favorite bands. And then I sort of I didn't really, from those grades, from that age where I didn't really continue the search to look for, heavier. I kind of just stayed there with, like Korn and System. And then I just, went on with my life. And one day, a old friend of mine in high school was listening to a CD, and he said, "And you want to listen to this?" And I said, "Sure. What is it?" And he said, "It's Slayer, Hell Awaits." And I said, "Wow, this is so fast. I've never heard anything like this before." So then he showed me the whole, when he showed me the music, it was already during the fast part. And then I said, "I want to listen to this song from the beginning." So he started it, and then, where it's the join us, the atmosphere, like the first like minute where it's just like with the guitar, and then the drums, and then that awesome intro, the dug, dug, dug. And then at that moment, I was just so blown away. I was like, whoa, this is something like I never heard before. And then after that, I asked him to let me borrow that CD. I ripped it into my computer, and then I was just like on repeat, was just Hell Awaits. And then I started that was when I started the search, when I was like, okay, this is music. I want more of this music. And then that's when I started getting into like thrash metal, way more thrash metal. So at first it was like the big ones, and then I started diving down, and then, I started discovering bands like Creator and Sodom and Dark Angel. And eventually I got to Death and Deicide and Morbid Angel, and it just went from there. I kind of went on my own from that experience that I had with that old friend of mine in, early in high school. And yeah, then it just kind of, I can't even give you like a timeline after that. It just kind of just, it was a snowball effect. And I started discovering heavier bands. Then I could pinpoint like bands, I guess, like that changed everything. It was just kind of like when I discovered the early Sepultura albums. And then when I discovered the Sodom records, like probably from Obsessed by Cruelty through Tapping the Vein, that was like I was just obsessed with those records. And then when I got into bands like Death and Deicide and Morbid Angel, then I started diving into their discography. And then I stumbled upon Immortal. And when I stumbled upon Immortal, I stumbled upon the Damned in Black record. And that record was life-changing to me, because when I first heard it, I didn't, because I had heard black metal before. I had heard the De Mysteriis record and the self-titled Bursum record, and I'd listened to In the Night Side Eclipse prior, but it didn't click with me. I listened to it and I was like, oh, this is cool, it's different, but I didn't go back to it. But then when I listened to Damned in Black, I was really impressed, and I realized, oh, this is also black metal. This is just an interpretation of it, you know. So then that's when I started really understanding, and it clicked. Everything clicked. And then I went back to De Mysteriis, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing at that point. I was like, oh, now I understand this. Now I understand why these records are so monumental, because of what they create. I had to get into the right headspace. And then In the Night Side Eclipse, that became like my Bible after a certain point, you know, like In the Night Side Eclipse. And then I discovered other bands after, Dissection. And those were the bands basically that like changed my life pretty much. When I discovered those bands, was, you know, this is the kind of music that I want to play.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, when I discovered Slayer and like Iron Maiden and the bands, I knew what kind of music that I wanted to listen to. But when I discovered these black metal bands, that's the music that I wanted to play. So, and then after a point, I basically started creating a marriage within them as I was learning how to play guitar. Okay. And yeah, it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. Was it the, when you picked up on like thrash metal and death metal, was when you started to take interest or in guitar, or was it until later when you discovered the Immortal and Emperor and Dissection records?
No, so when I discovered thrash stuff, I was intimidated by guitar. So I got a bass. I had this really cool BC Rich Warlock bass. It was just, it was awesome. It looked awesome to me just because, you know, the shape, it looks evil and stuff. And I think I must have been like 15 when I got it. It was just so impressive to me to get that. And then I just started learning. I started just playing around with it. And I started learning songs like Megadeth songs and Metallica songs and Slayer songs. And then from there, what had happened after? I didn't even set out to buy a guitar. I remember on MySpace, there were like listings, like classifieds for instruments, like, you know, people were playing their instruments and stuff. And I remember there was a guy who was looking for a beach lock, and he was willing to trade it for a Jackson King V. And I had already had another bass by then. I'd got a ESP LTD bass. So I was like, oh, I can part with this bass. And this is a King V. And I love the King V because I still am a big fan of Megadeth, but at the time I was like, the King V, Megadeth, Dave Mustaine, that was like everything to me. So I was thinking, oh, I can get a King V if I trade this, and this bass is actually worth less than the King V that he's trading. So we made the trade, gave me the King V and everything. And then I just started playing with the guitar. And when I started getting chords going and riff ideas and stuff, I saved up to get a Line 6 Spider, those little, I think 30-watt, I have it actually, those little 30-watt Line 6 amps. And then I just started getting tabs off the internet and learning how to play songs like that. And then I tried to mimic like techniques and stuff, like riff techniques and chord progressions and things like that from my favorite bands. And then when I started getting into the black metal stuff, it was like a relearning experience because it's just there's just different techniques that go with it. And yeah, I picked up from all that and just went there. And I guess it contributed to my style in how I write music with Imperialist, because it's not just one influence. It's not just only like Damned in Black influence, black metal type of thing. There's a lot of things that are incorporated in the music, and it's just because, I guess that's just because the way I learned. Like, I never had a lesson or anything. Like, nobody taught me or guided me. I just sort of got the guitar and went from there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Dissection, the Storm of the Light Spain. That's probably one of my top 5 just favorite albums I ever like discovered, like when I was getting into heavy music.
Oh yeah, I highly agree.
Yeah, super melodic, and just, yeah, even the artwork too. I was like obsessed with that artwork. I even like my dad's a painter. I asked him to paint something similar to that, but with a Native American, actually, I'll show you real quick.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome.
I don't know if you can see this. It's like a...
Oh, dude, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a Native American guy with a war bonnet.
Yeah.
But
that's really cool, man.
I told him...
You should make a picture design for the podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking about make prints of this, like just, like just some prints and just give them out to people, or even like make it a shirt or something. But yeah, it's a total ripoff of the Storm of the Light Spain.
That's really cool, actually. You should send me that. I want to show it to my bandmates. They'll really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll send you just a JPEG or a digital copy of that.
Yeah, sure. That'd be really cool. Yeah, especially the brothers in the band. They're native, so.
Oh, nice.
They have native in them, so
awesome.
They really.
Yeah, they'll definitely dig that. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you kind of went through that progression of how you like first got into music and how you got influence, and then you started playing music. How about can you talk about just like the formation of or actually, were you in any other bands before Imperialist, or?
No, I mean, I jammed with other people, and I had a sort of band going on right out of high school with a good friend of mine from high school. He's a drummer, and we would just jam, but we never really got like an idea down. We never really got like a sound or what we wanted. We just kind of said, hey man, we should play like this, or we should play like this, or you should write riffs like that. And then we just would come up with riffs, but never really structured anything. And I guess I just never really structured anything. I sort of just played riffs, and I thought I'll go from this riff to the next riff and come back, and then that's it. And we would just play it over and over. And then we would just end up playing covers. So we then recruited guitar players, but they didn't stick around. And then the whole band idea with my old buddy just never worked out. Then I started meeting other people, and it was the same thing. It would just start up as a cover situation, but never another band. It was sort of quick, we'd like once or twice, and then nothing ever happened. And I always wanted to join a band at the time, but I guess because I was just intimidated by the idea. I mean, I was like 16 or 17, I just didn't really know many people the same music taste as I did. There was like maybe like 4 or 5 guys in my school that listened to similar music as I did. But once I started getting into the, like old death metal and stuff like that, those people were getting into like deathcore and things that I just didn't want a part of. You know, I wasn't going in that direction. I was more in the direction of like the more extreme, you know, death metal and black metal stuff. So there was also a discourse there, but the idea of Imperialist came around when I then started getting serious about starting a band. I started investing into good gear. I got like a hat stack, a Marshall, and I got a new guitar, and I was just really focused. At that time, I'd already set on the fact I want to play a type of black metal music, and I want to interpret it somehow the way with my influences. So I always wanted to create black metal with riffs that were very not technical, because our music is not technical by those terms, but not monotonous either. Not where it's like, you know, Transylvanian Hunger or like Panzerfaust, like those records, just like like the tremolo chord riffing.
Yeah,
I wanted to add more to it, and that's where the Dissection influences came in. The Necrophobic and Dark Funeral, those kind of influences came in because they had a little more riffs going on, especially Dissection, where there's a lot of palm muting, a lot of, you know, gallops and stuff like that, and just the songs were longer and more storytelling. I wanted something like that. I wanted to be able to interpret that in my own way. So when I had that idea down, that's when I started looking for people, and that's when I started hanging out with Rodney, our drummer, and when was it that we decided? We had been talking for a while, and then I saw him at the first time Winter Sun played here in LA. They weren't even the headliner. They were opening for, who were they opening for? Elevati. Mm-hmm. I think I'm pronouncing that right or wrong. They were opening for them, and we were in line, and I was just telling, hey man, we should just start a band, you know, like, or we can just jam. Let's just jam. Let's play some covers or something, and then we can just jam out. Yeah, actually, yeah, now it's coming back. I didn't ask him to start a band. I just asked him to jam out. I just said, hey, we should get together. I have a spot in my house, and you can take your drums, and we can just jam out. So when we met, we were trying to play these covers that we were talking about, and it just didn't work out. But at the time, I already had riffs for music for Imperialist. And I told him, hey, do you want to hear something that I'm coming up with, like these ideas that I have? So he said, go for it. I started playing the riff to what would become Call of Volcane. And he basically said, why don't we just play this? And this was already like at the end of our jam. Like he was already getting ready to leave, and we were just getting ready to leave. And I said, oh, okay. So you want to just play this kind of stuff? He's like, yeah, let's do it. Show me next time. And then he left his drums, and we hung out. I think a week later, he came over, and that was like the push that I needed to really finish music, basically, like finish these riffs, put them together and stuff. And that's when I started showing them, you know, I think I'd finished Call of Volcano in like a week or two after. And then we would jam to that. Then I started writing more riffs, and I said, hey, check this out. What do you think of this? And we were just going back and forth playing ideas. And I was even showing him riffs that would end up on Cypher. And we were just playing that. And it just went from there. Then we were just looking for guitar players and bass players, and it was difficult. But then we actually I ran into Bryant somewhere I believe it was at a gig, and he said, "Oh, you're jamming with my brother." I I like what you guys are doing. I want to jam with you guys. So then he came through, and it was the perfect match, the three of us. So then we were just on the search for bass, and then we found our bass player, and we just went from there.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that you Brian and Rodney are brothers. A lot of bands that I've always like admired, and always have like brothers, like Sepultura and like Gojira and Van Halen, like Pantera. Yeah, I don't know, something about when there's two brothers in the band, they really kind of understand like on another level. So then I feel like it really, I don't know, I think there's just something cool about that.
Yeah, I always thought it was really cool, and the chemistry is even better between us, between the four of us, because I mean we've all known each other for a long time now, and it just helps where two of the four of us have known each other their whole lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool, and it just creates more of a what's the word I'm looking for? A peaceful environment.
Yeah.
There's more. It's the communication is the best. Actually, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of like podcasts that interview metal musicians, and I think it's the Rob Flynn from Machine Head. He has his own podcast. Oh, yeah. He interviewed the guitarist for Decapitated. I think his name's Vogue. I guess Decapitated. Oh, yeah, or the early Decapitated records had Vogue and his brother on drums.
Yeah, his brother.
And I think there was like a story where like they were recording the Organic Hallucinosis album, and I guess Vogue just played all his guitar tracks for the producer, and then his brother, all he did was just lay on the couch. He didn't even like make up any drum parts. He just laid on the couch, listened to the guitar parts. And then he went in right after him, and then just did all the drum parts, like right then and there. Just kind of came up with it on his own, like just listened to his brother play guitar. So something like that. Yeah. Like you said, the chemistry is just like different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it shows too, especially like in the newest record on Zenith, it shows that we have a collective, just solid chemistry, because everything's it flows much more organically.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do with the fact that we just, the writing process was a little different this time around. And we came up with a lot of the more epic parts on the spot. Mm-hmm. We were just jamming, and during, we get together to practice for a set, or just to kind of, stay ready for a set. We just rehearse regularly, but sometimes after or before, we'll start playing something we're working on. And then we just, if it's really, really good, I mean, we just start working on it there, and we make a mental note and incorporate it for new material. And a lot of that happened for Zenith. We came up with a lot of the, like I said, the really epic stuff on the spot, and we just made a note and moved on with it. But that's because of that chemistry. We're able to just kind of play and sort of anticipate, what kind of feeling we're going to get from playing with each other. Like Rodney, when I jam with Rodney, I mean, we don't even look at each other. Like we just, like, he knows in a way what I'm going to play next based on what I'm playing now. Or like, I know where to go with what I'm playing when he changes what he's doing. So like if I'm playing really fast and he's doing a blast beat, and then he just goes into a groove or something, I already know what to do at that point. I don't even need to anticipate it or anything. It's just like, we just know each other's, I guess, mannerisms when it comes to playing our instruments. So
yeah. I looked at the previous releases. There's the EP that came out in 2015, Quantum Annexation, then the Cypher album in 2018, and then most recent Zenith. The lineup's been stable for pretty much the whole course of the discography of Imperialist. I think that's cool. I think you guys could really, keep creating something like, keep building off like, previous albums. And yeah, if you guys just keep that lineup together, that'd be awesome. And just keep putting out good badass music.
Thank you. Yeah,
so
that's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is to keep it together. At this point, I mean, we've been together for so long that it's just normal. We're just, and it's like we already know at this point, just how we want to do things and what we want to do for the future. And it's just a progression. Basically, we just want to go from where we are here, what we want to do next. And then when we get to that point, we look back and then we assess what we did this time. And then we apply that to what we're going to do next. And then when we get, and so on and so forth. So now that Zenith is out and people have heard it and whatnot, it's been out. Now we know where we want to go next. And now we know how we want to do that. Yeah. Instead of just like, oh, we should do a completely different album. Although I think it's a very big risk, and oftentimes it yields really good results. But I always liked the gradual progression towards something versus who's a band that would do something like that? Like you have bands like, Emperor is an example where every album is slightly different than the next. Than the one prior. So you have In the Night City Eclipse going into Anthems. Anthems has a lot of In the Night City Eclipse going on, but it's just more theatrical, more of a theater of the mind type thing. And then you go to Nine Equilibrium, where it's just less of that, more aggression, I guess, because Anthems is more dark, I don't want to say romantic, and then Nine Equilibrium is just aggression. And then when it gets to Prometheus is just full blown, like a technical, progressive, extreme black metal. You can't even categorize that. So I always like that idea of just like a slowly gradual progression. Or you could be like Opeth and just one day just like, all right, we're just gonna do it.
Become a 70s like prog rock band.
We're gonna become a 70s prog rock band, and I love that stuff. I love what Opeth has done. I mean, so far I'm a fan of it. I love everything they've done, but that's just what works for them. But for us, it's just, I like the progression, I like the gradual progression, and I like what we can do next. Like, what can we do next with what we have now while maintaining that same identity with the whole like Iron Maiden approach sort of thing, where like, Iron Maiden changes, but you still know it's them. Whereas you have bands like, I mentioned them at this point. I can just go on for hours about that. But basically maintain our identity, incorporate new things, and eventually get to something new. Yeah. While maintaining our sound.
The bands like Imagery and like, especially like with the merch. I really love the merch. Like, is that something you guys come up with, or how do you guys come up with like the kind of like the imagery and the concept of like the visuals of the band?
Just in short, the imagery comes from my appreciation for just science fiction / sci-fi thriller / horror imagery, and I want to be able to bring that into like this style of music that I play. So I wanted to like ancient but futuristic, because I feel like if we were to come out with castles and a lot of ancient medieval things, it would be just another one in the
like
one.
burning churches.
That's and I mean I can't write about burning churches or anything. I mean, I've never done that or anything. Like it's just so I really like things like Halo and Metroid and Destiny and Gears of War and Star Wars and Dune and just a lot of like science fiction and just space in general. Like I just like that, and I think it's really fascinating what's out there and just the theories and everything. So I put a lot of that in the imagery and the lyrics, and then I also create my own stories within that realm. Like I have Terminal Odyssey, which is like my favorite song, I think, that I've written lyrically. That one is just about the last few minutes on Mars on a mission, on a colonizing mission, and just everything that's going through this person's mind before they die on a foreign planet, where the emotions are very violent to where they eventually become sort of tranquil, sort of towards the end where it's a little more stressful, where it's impending, and then just a sudden end. And that's how the music flows, like you have the music where it starts very aggressive, very, very brutal. Then it kind of transitions, then it slows down, then there's a groove, it gets a little more tranquil, and then it just ends. And it kind of goes in correlation with the lyrics. And I like to incorporate that, just like the imagery, because I think it looks cool. I've always been into that kind of imagery, like the space, science fiction, the robots, or not robots, but just kind of like
like artificial intelligence.
Yeah, like my lyrics have a lot to do with like just the unknown of space, or just kind of like the idea of space, or just scenarios when these phenomena occur, but applied to as if we were experiencing it or whatnot, things like that. I kind of like to make the marriage somehow to the real world.
That's cool. I mean, I did grow up playing some like games like Halo, but I think just with work and stuff, I haven't really gotten back into it. But I do like watching like sci-fi movies. I'd say like the most recent one I saw that I really liked was I don't know if you watched like the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, I love the Marvels.
Eternal. Did you watch Eternals?
Yeah, I did.
That was amazing. I was like, it wasn't directly like, I mean, they referenced a couple of the Marvel stuff going on in the universe, but I think it kind of just was, to me, it was a standalone, like really cool sci-fi movie.
It was cool. Yeah, I agree. It was really cool. I like to take like the idea of the band movie wise. If I were to describe it, I describe it more like a world, pretty much. Like, you know how Star Wars, you have the Luke Skywalker saga, but then you have the extended universe. I feel like our music is more like the lyrics just take place in this world, and that's it. Like there's no correlation to anything. It's just kind of like it just takes place on this world in space and this unnamed time, and that's it. And it leaves a lot of room for storytelling or symbolism, because there's a lot of symbolism in relation to the music and the real world. And I do use a lot of metaphors with things that I see, or with just things that I have thoughts about. And then I kind of create the lyrics, and I use lyrical like subject matter as the metaphors themselves. And they're open for interpretation too. That's the thing. Like I have my interpretation, but the imagery is there. And if you really care to read lyrics and stuff, you can sort of create your own conclusion as to what I'm trying to say. But the main point is that it is a story that takes place in another world, or like dimension or whatever, another universe. But there are things that I draw from the real world and I incorporate them there. Yeah.
Awesome.
So the Zenith album's been out since November 26, 2021. I have the digital copy. I know the physical copies are still making their way to people, but as far as like the lyrical content of Zenith, is it kind of like is the whole album like, are all the songs connected, or are they kind of like on their own?
Lyrically, they're all on their own, but musically, in a way, they're connected, but only in the sense of how the album flows. So from the onset, the idea was to create an album in the same structure, or I guess same execution as Storm of the Light's Bane or Anthems, where it can be one piece if you listen to it from the first song all the way to the very end, or it can stand on its own individually with each song. And that was really the main idea. We want to have those albums as a blueprint and sort of go from there, make our own version of that. And that's why the album is more dense. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot of layers, and just the songs are longer, but there are more changes too, but there's more focus. It's definitely more focused than Cypher was. Cypher was, I feel, like a collection of songs, but the thing is that album, it's more like an anthology. Like, it's just like a lot of pieces put together that usually just work like that. It's just the album and all the songs in there. But Zenith, I feel more of a, like I said, just one piece or individual. It can work both ways. You can listen to it as one, or you can listen to it individually, however you want. And that was a goal. And we did that. We got it out of our system, and now we know what we want to do next. So
awesome.
Yeah, that was basically the idea. Yeah.
Can you talk about like the kind of like on the title Zenith? How did you and the band come up with the album title Zenith?
So it's all right. So Cypher, for example, and I'll get to it. So Cypher is basically symbolism as like zero. So that was like our ground zero. Like, we were trying to reinvent ourselves as a band. Like, we felt like, all right, we have this sound. This is our zero ground. This is our foundation. Hence the name Cypher, hence the black hole. And then Zenith was kind of like, okay, we want to get from where we went from Cypher, and we want to just go from there. We want to hit our zenith, so to speak. We want to get to that point where we can, I guess, surpass Cypher pretty much in our own way, like surpass what we've done before, and maintaining that integrity that we had this whole time. So the symbol of the tower is basically Zenith, is a tower, and we want our music to basically, to ourselves, be that tower, like where it can climb and eventually reach some form of peak. And the album itself, I feel like, is like that. It works like that. It has a inception, and then so you have the intro, and then you have the mall, where it's like immediately, like, it just throws you into something. Then it continues with Parallax, and then it just kind of, it's like a little bit of a roller coaster, but always gradually going up in terms of what the first song did. And then by the time you get through the middle part and towards the end of the album, it's like the climax. It's like the zenith of the album, where you're already at the very top, and then that's it. The journey ends on Beyond the Celestial Veil.
Oh, that's cool. I was listening to it earlier today, but I'm definitely going to listen to it now with the intention of, just kind of following each song's progression to the next one. Yeah. And then the artwork, it was done by the artist Adam Burke. He also did the Cypher artwork. Yeah. How did he, did you guys kind of just give him like lyrics or give him like the concept and then he was able to come up with it, or was there kind of a lot of back and forth between the band?
Just the back and forth was mainly just on the colors, but the ideas themselves was our idea. We just provided the concept, and he then just executed it.
Yeah, he does some really cool artwork.
Yeah, he does great landscape work too. I like his landscape artwork where it's just like a vast, like, there's one that he did where it's like it's just like a mountainside, and then there's a lake, and it looks really cool. I like those that he does more than his subject matter pieces.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And then the album was released on Transcending Obscurity. I guess I got a two-part question. Like, first, how did you guys get on Transcending Obscurity, and do you guys have like input on like the physical products, like the vinyl and stuff like that?
Yeah. So when we got onto Transcending, it was a cold email. So we just reached out to them, and with Cypher, we had actually started getting ready to self-release Cypher. And I think it was only like a week after we announced or like revealed the artwork and that we had an album coming out. And then we reached out to Transcending Obscurity. And I think, honestly, like a week later, I was on my computer. It was like 10 p.m. I remember it was like a Sunday night. And I saw an email notification from Transcending Obscurity, and he said, "Oh, hey, I want to hear more." And I provided the rest of the record, and he offered us a deal right there. And we signed on ever since. It was just it started off with a cold email. We had sent emails to a couple other labels too, and some of them were telling us things like, we can't do it because we just don't have any space at the time. So it just, I guess, wasn't for us at the time. Those labels weren't for us yet. But Transcending Obscurity took a chance on us, and I really appreciate the opportunity we have because, he really took his time to develop our release and just our presence among, the community. And we were able to get a lot of good support early on, and it helped with Zenith when it came out, with like, and going into the merchandise. The first Cypher, we only had one vinyl variant, and it was just that really cool splatter. It was in the same colors as the artwork. But then when Zenith came out, I guess because the label knows, so he figured he'd do 5 variants of the vinyl, of splatter variants of the vinyl, and those went by quickly. Fortunately, but it's because he was able to really push it to the audience, to really support us, and it's because how much work goes into the merchandising that people are also attracted to.
Yeah, I think Transcending Obscurity, they really appeal to the collectors. I follow a lot of collectors on like Instagram. That's kind of like how I find out about new bands. But there's also like a Transcending Obscurity Facebook group where everyone kind of like, shows off all their collection. But I think he really, understands like that market, and marketing towards the collector. Cause I like to collect them, but Unfortunately, I missed out on the Imperialist vinyl, man. They went by fast. And but I know the CD, they also put out really cool CDs. I don't know if you've seen, like, just, they usually, like, there's like an 8 panel. There's, like, you fold it into 4, and then there's like double-sided. And then on top of that, like the top, like, the surface is like usually like a really shiny, like, effect. I don't know. It's just even their CD stuff, and I haven't seen any of their tapes, but I've seen that they put out like collectible, like, boxes, like wooden boxes, and all kinds of cool stuff. Do you ever get a hands on some of those, or?
Yeah. I actually just got Zenith CDs. Let me show you. It's one of these guys. It's really cool. It came out. Wow. It has like a metallic print on it, and it has a cool little, like, description of, like, the what press is said. And it's awesome. When I first saw it, I was saying, "Whoa, these look really cool," and I don't even want to open it. But we just got these, and we are supposed to get vinyl in April, I believe. So because of the pressing plants, the pressing plants are backed up. So that's why a lot of releases are backed up. But hopefully, I mean, you can pick one up if we have inventory, because we probably will get some inventory as well for ourselves. So, I mean, we'll announce it online.
Oh yeah. I'll be on the lookout. Yeah.
Yeah. And those box sets, man, those wooden box sets are really impressive. I remember when I first saw the box sets that he was doing with the wooden, and then the wooden box set, and then, like, it has the borders, like the little metal borders, and it's embossed, and, like, the band's logo is in gold, or like in silver, or whatever color it's based off. And then just the mock-ups, like, the way it opens, and then everything in it has a flag, it has like a poster, a patch, all kinds of cool stuff. And I really like that. I have one of the Cypher ones here, but I haven't opened it. I don't want to open it. I kind of just want to keep it there. And like like you said, he appeals to the collectors, but those are the faithful followers. Those are the collectors, the people who want the physical media. And I think that's why there's such a demand for physical media now, especially vinyl and now tapes, because it's so unique. It's limited. Like, you only get X amount per variant or X amount per release, and then that's it. You're not going to repress. So then these people either want to collect and just have it, or make an investment. There are people who, for example, speaking on, like, Storm of the Light's Bane, people would get a repress to Storm of the Light's Bane limited to 300, and then you can see it on Discogs in like 2-3 years for like $300-400.
Yeah, so I have a repress of actually all 3 of the Somberlands, Storm of the Light's Bane, and Rain Chaos. Like,
oh, okay.
I think they repressed it like in 2013, and I was lucky enough to get like one of each, just plain black, like black vinyl.
I actually have let me show you. I think you'll like this. I have a Storm of the Light's Bane, but it's a picture print.
Okay.
Let me see. Where is it? Okay. So yeah, this is the limited to 1,000 one. Storm Lightning. And oh man, I really love the picture print on this one. Let me see. So it's
oh damn. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the face in the front, and then on the back you have the band.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't even want to play this. Like,
yeah, that's a cool display piece. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have it here for, like for display and keep it well protected in my collection. But yeah, no, see, these are the things, like this is the same community that people are do for like stuff from Transcending Obscurity, because then they.
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. I was confused. I thought my connection went down or something.
No, I got bad Wi-Fi out here. I'm kind of like the northern part of Arizona, like on the Navajo reservation. So
okay.
I get like spotty. My Wi-Fi like will go in and out. But yeah, it's cool though. But yeah, we're just talking about like that. The dissection like picture disc, man, that was really cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just got the plain like black wax vinyl, and even looking on Discogs, like the Stone of the Light Spain, I think I want to say it's like $200 now, like for resale or like for what it's worth. But I'm not. Yeah, no way I'm selling that. I mean, I got a couple people like I used to like post my a lot of my vinyl stuff on social media, but I kind of slowed down. But just because it's mainly, I guess it's mainly just for me. And a lot of times people kind of ask me for like stuff. If it's for sale, a lot of times it's not. But if they can offer like a cool like trade, I'll go for it. But yeah, I definitely have a lot. But I'll be on the lookout for some Imperialists and see if there's any extra, if they're on the Transcending Obscurity, or if you guys have like your own merch site. I'll keep a lookout.
Yeah, when we get a merch supply, we'll post it. Some people really, still comment that they missed the pre-orders and like when they were still out and stuff. So a lot of the times people just take those. That's how it was with Cypher when we started posting the Cypher stuff on our personal like sales Bandcamp page. People just kind of they went out quick. Yeah. So it's really cool. It's really humbling, like to see people so interested in our music, because I never would have thought that, when we were doing Quantum, Annexation, the demo, or even with Cypher, because we were just thinking we're going to go DIY with Cypher. I never thought that the label would pick us up and just put so much into our merchandising and put it on vinyl. Like I didn't even think of having our music on vinyl, and now we have 2 records on vinyl. So it's nice to see, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. Regardless, it's just good to see people out there supporting and just being really into what we're creating, because we really believe in what we create, and we really enjoy playing it and creating it, and just creating this universe, or not even creating a universe, just our interpretation of what we like, So yeah, it's nice to see. We really like that.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other live shows coming up in the near future?
No, we don't. Actually, we did the California Death Fest, and now we're going to focus on a couple other things, other unnamed projects. So we're going to start doing that, and we probably will take shows maybe like in April.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Yeah, we do want to start playing out of state. Did play Arizona in 2000.
Yeah, it was like January 2019, the Dead of Winter Fest. And
2019, yeah, we played that show.
Yeah, I was living in Phoenix at the time, but I was like working at the time. I just couldn't make it. But man, I really kind of bummed out. I missed it.
Oh yeah, and we want to go back, so we'll probably start working on something like that soon for Arizona.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be sick. I'd definitely check that out.
Yeah, man, would love to meet you in person. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. And then just kind of a couple of closing questions. Is there any like new bands or any band that you feel like doesn't get enough like recognition, either locally or nationally, that people should check out?
New bands. Let me see. So I really like. I really like Margrave. I don't know if you've checked them out.
Oh, not yet.
They have
No.
an album that came out a couple years ago called Reign in Supreme Darkness. It's basically the Night Side Eclipse worship. Tons of atmosphere. I like another band called Fallen. They have an album called, what's the album called? It's their most recent one. That's a fantastic record, black metal too, but it has symphonic elements. There's a keyboard, but it's really haunting. It sounds really, haunting is a word. I really like that. I think people should check that band out. Who else I can think? I mean, I really like Oculus. I think everyone should check Oculus out. I can't even think. Honestly, I've just been listening to a lot of like the old school stuff that I always listen to. Yeah, man. That's all what I'm really into right now. Those are the bands that I'm big on right now.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm definitely going to check out Vargroth. I haven't heard that one yet. I'm just anything related to Dissection, I will immediately check out.
Oh yeah, another great album that came out was a band called Stormkeep.
Oh yeah.
They put out an album called Tales of Other Time. That's like early Dimmu Borgir worship, like Dimmu Borgir and like early Emperor worship. That's a good album too. I think people should check that out. And I mean, I can't even think right now. I'm just so tapped out.
Yeah.
With just talking about all that stuff.
No, a lot of the stuff I like. I mainly like regarding black metal. I really like the stuff that people use like Native American history or culture. They incorporate that. It's I guess the most popular one would be like Pan American Native Front, and there's a couple bands around here like Mutilated Tyrant, and I talked to a one-man project called East Nahi. He does like songs in the Navajo language.
Oh, and, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's super raw. It's like really raw, kind of like it's almost like a more like Immortal and like Inquisition kind of sounding vocals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Super so raw. Like really like creepy, like really almost like if they're speaking.
Yeah. It's like like almost like a frog. Like I guess everyone compares like Abbott's vocals to like a frog vocals, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then recently I talked with Michachuan. Definitely everything about that project is amazing. All right. I think that's pretty much all my questions. Any specific like people or anyone in particular you want to like just shout out or acknowledge?
Well, I mean, everyone who supports us, you yourself included. I mean, we wouldn't be here if you guys wouldn't, if you wouldn't listen to our music or support. We're here because of you. And I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everyone who supports us. I'm just thankful for all of that, and we're just gonna keep on. We're gonna stay around as much as we see fit.
Yeah. Cool. And what's the best way to show support for Imperialist?
Yeah, you can purchase merch. We have links on our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and you can go to we have a link in our bios on our social media, and that'll link you to the label or to our merchandise or to any of the other outlets that we have, like Night Shift Merch, they just released a really cool design for Terminal Odyssey, actually. We got a long sleeve t-shirt. And then other merch, you can get through there. And yeah, you can go check us out on social media, follow us, like us, support, buy an album, buy a shirt, a sweater. We have a bunch of stuff available for people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love the artwork and everything on the merch.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm going to stop the recorder right now.
That was my talk with Imperialist and vocalist guitarist Sergio Soto. Apologies for the poor audio. I was dealing with some really bad Wi-Fi connections throughout our Zoom call. But yeah, just be sure to support Imperialist. Follow them on social media, stream their music on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. And if you can, be sure to pick up some of their, albums on physical format. And be sure to follow Transcending Obscurity, probably one of the best metal labels going on right now. And yeah, really thankful to be able to talk with Sergio, and hopefully I can talk with more people from Transcending Obscurity. I'm going to play a song that Sergio mentioned was, one of his favorites off the new album, Zenith. And that song is Terminal Odyssey. And then after that, that'll be the end of the podcast. So yeah, thanks for listening. Going ahead. Bye.